Hey everybody, today is Monday, March 4th, 6:55 a.m. and we've got green futures today, and Asian markets, I think they said on CNBC, were all up, so that's good, and there's still these hopes of a China trade deal with the United States, so hopefully that doesn't go away, or like they have something where like Trump storms out of the meeting or something. We definitely don't want that. The S&P continues to try to get higher. Again, you can see the upper resistance line from this little pattern here where it dipped and came back, and now we're back up there. Let's take a look real close here. So it looks like the S&P came through this, started consolidating, came up, had another little dip, came up, and it's going sideways here again. That's all really good. That stair step kind of activity. I was actually surprised on Friday. I think we were way up in the morning, sold off, and still came back up and closed higher. That's showing a lot of strength. I think I don't know if there were any options expiring that day, but it just seemed like there was selling that needed to take place, yet a lot of underlying strength that pushed the market back up. So we're just hanging around underneath this line right now, but we do have a bit of consolidation, so we may be able to punch through it. We might need a bit more time going sideways, but we might actually get through that. Looking at that NASDAQ, so it's well past any kind of resistance that this was giving, this area. Well, not really, not past, but this is more of an angled line. I have it right there. You can see the white angled line. So there isn't really a clear straight across like the S&P has. There's different points like that, but so it's still in that area, I guess, would be more accurate, and has a similar pattern to the S&P. I just hope that if it needs more sideways time, we just go sideways and don't go, down the toilet. Here's my list. The oscillator, take a quick look, is at a plus 6.72. So we're nowhere near overbought or anything like that. With time, as long as we stay there and go sideways, we should get higher. Square was a wild ride last week. Its earnings tanked it, then it rallied like crazy, and then the next day sold off. It was nuts. I bought back into Square after the earnings and as it crossed this line on this day, and then came back down. I'm still in. I didn't get stopped out, but I'm hoping that maybe that's just starting a consolidation or something, because somebody else pointed out that there's a resistance back here that it clearly is hitting, and that might be why it sold off. So it's these 2 points here, and then you can see where it made it over that line before, made it over that area before, and then just got snapped right back down and sold way down there. But I'm hoping that most of the selling that's sitting there took care of itself back here, and maybe there's just a bit more, so that's why we hit it. That's why we went down when we hit it. So it's an ascending triangle. It came out of it. It came out of it before the earnings, was sent back in after the earnings, was bought back up through it, and then sold back through it again. So a lot of volatility sitting right there, a lot of selling pressure. We just have to wait and see. It's gapping up a little today, and the market's gapping up. Maybe we'll get some more buying. We'll have to see. COUP, their earnings are on March 11th, but look at that pattern. Really straight up action into this. So that's really only, if it was to break out today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 days, about 6 days, because it'll be after the market on the 11th. About 6 trading days. If it breaks out today, potentially 6 days of upside, or 5 or 4, depending on what day it breaks out, if it does before the earnings. Or it could just sit there a little longer, wait for the earnings pop out. Nice pattern regardless. Trade desk. And I said before, that I typically only want to deal with patterns that are 4 weeks long or more. because I've seen so many failures in the last little while of short-term pennants or short-term bull flags. So I have this one, Trade Desk, which is a short-term bull flag. But I just feel like with the amount of volume that dumped in after the earnings, that there's a lot of momentum sitting in that stock waiting to go. We'll have to wait and see. If this doesn't work, you may not see another bull flag from me, unless it's one where it already broke out of a nice 4-week or more base, went up, formed another bull flag, and we're just kind of watching it. But yeah, I think it's got a lot of momentum. It's just holding, it's just so tightly sideways like that. I think it's gonna go. So we'll see. It's basically over the high, 202.30. YNDX. I just put this in last week. I don't think I even had it in a video last week. And it was the symmetrical triangle last week. But now, I'm going to take that line out actually. Now it's an ascending triangle because of what it did last week. And there's a clear 3-point touch on that line. So, what do I have for a breakout on that? 34.74, right up in here. Yeah, 34.74. So it might be getting ready to go. I think it already announced its earnings right here, so that's why I don't have the earnings in there. But check it out. Just make sure you're not gonna walk into an earnings report. I think it already reported. Canopy growth. I think this needs more time, and I would say be very cautious on this thing. It seems very volatile. It worked back here on a little pennant, then it formed another pennant that failed, then it's forming a bigger pennant. It just seems like it's very easily thrown up or down. Just be real careful. I'm just going to show the pattern. I'm not going to put a buy point on it, but it's there. Excuse me. New core, again, just has a little flag. That is at least 4 weeks long. New core is right around 61.92. So if the raw materials get going, that's a steel company. If the raw materials start going, the trade deal might, kick them into gear. If there's a mention of it within there, so might be just keep an eye on it. I don't think it's gonna be super strong or anything. Just keep an eye on it. Tesla, wow. Excuse me. Talk about headline risk. So it had a falling wedge here, broke out, had another good update, and then headline, and bang, it dumped. And now it's got another headline this morning, and it's up. So, wow. I mentioned before in another video, I asked how you would play this, and I didn't tell you how I would. What I probably would have done I would have kept my stop down here. Unfortunately, that would have stopped you out. But the headline, you would not have known that headline was going to come out. That's part of the headline risk. It's like a lottery. You don't know what's going to happen. But it's all over the place right now. That's crazy. If you had got out the second day, you would have had a super good profit. But, who does that? Especially when it looks like that. You might have said, that's enough. We'll just take it out. If you did, great. If not, yikes. REGN. So this came out without a lot of volume. So I wasn't gung-ho to try to get in this thing or anything, but it's moving. So there's the nice ascending triangle. It broke through on very little volume, dipped back in a little, and then took off. And even then, it didn't really have the volume down here. This isn't it. The yellow line down here is like the average volume for the past 21 days, and then the green bar is the actual volume. So I want to see it punch, right up through that yellow line. Of course, I use my volume too, which I haven't shown you yet, but that's what I use to try to figure it out in the moment. And it just didn't have the volume, but the price is still moving. So if you're in it, great, got some upside. So that's it for today. Next video should be tomorrow, and we'll take a look and see what happens. Have a good one.